Andy Griffith is a double order of chicken pot pie. There is the bland crust on the surface, smooth and innocent in texture. A little probing reveals a potato here, a carrot there, and through it all, the coagulating gravy. Further probing is rewarded with a sliver of meat and then a morsel and then the bonanza, a chunk of white meat, no less. Today, this 6-footer from North Carolina, his hair salt and peppery and face weather-beaten, weighs about 175. He has to watch his weight now and, as we talked, he sat on the couch with no coat on, wearing gold-framed glasses and looked more like a Midwestern businessman than the superstar of the tube. That is, until he opened his mouth. What came out was not all succotash and black-eyed peas. Knowing he was a Gemini, I asked the man with the outward calm, "Do you have a low boiling point?" "I've broken my fist twice hittin' a wall. I hope never to do that again, but I can get awful mad. I don't know how low my boilin' point is, but once it goes pretty strong. I try never to do it lit public or in front of a cast or crew because that would destroy a stage. I am intense, yes. Sometimes I'm very quiet. Sometimes I'm very loud. I vary a lot in the course of a day. What I feel usually registers on my face instantly: joy, pain, happiness, sadness, or whatever. I only recently learned this about myself. I used to think I was very subtle. I've always been quick and open to compliment performances I like. And I thought when there was a performance I didn't like, that I was very subtle about letting the director or player know. I've now been told by 2 companies that I'm as subtle as an elephant in a tea shop. I don't mean to, but apparently I make faces. Lee Meriwether, who plays his wife in the new CBS TV Andy Griffith show, was the first to tell me. I said, "Now, come on. I know sometimes I get caught thinking things, but I'm not all that obvious." She said, "Yes, you are." George Lindsay, Goober, was sitting there. And he said, "You make terrible faces." Ken Barry agreed. So I try not to let other actors know, but apparently I don't pull it off. "Because of the nature of your disposition, I understand there are times you can't eat?" I said, getting into hog jowls and black-eyed peas. "There have been times when I can't eat, but usually I can eat." "And then you pack away the pork chops and black-eyed peas?" "Any more, at my age," continued Andy, "I have to watch it. Barbara, his wife, serves a southern meal about once a week. The menu varies. It might be ham or roast pork, or it might be chops. It would probably be pork of some kind, and it might be some kind of greens and tomatoes. Whatever she can get." "Collard greens?" I suggested. "It might be collard or it might be mustard." "With pot liquor?" "Broth left after cooking the greens." "I don't like pot liquor." "That's up to her." "No, I never have. Sometimes we'll have peas or beans. That's basic, and on New Year's Day, it's a big Southern custom. You're supposed to eat them, then. Hopping John or black-eyed peas are supposed to reward their consumers with prosperity according to the folks south of the Mason-Dixon line. Usually, I try and just stay with steak and stay off the potatoes and bread. I've gained on the road. I use the slant board every morning, do chest pulls and weights for 15 minutes. And that's all I can take. I do it the first thing when I get up and then I forget about it. I hate that. Well, I went to one health food restaurant and I don't recall what we had. But nobody would act with me the next day because I stunk. His forceful speech and facial expression conjured up the aroma of a ring-tailed polecat. Geez. It had to be garlic. It was, sigh, all day, the next day. Everybody was saying, "What do you eat?" Nobody would stay with me to work. His manager Dick Link came back into the room. "You look nice, Richard," he said admiringly. Both men were to appear on a television interview together. Andy debated which suit he should wear and ended up saying, "I think I should wear my brown suit, 'cause both my gray suits are in the cleaners, come to think of it." Andy relaxes at home in his California house in Toluca Lakes and in summer goes barefoot. I do what everybody else does at home. I just hang around anywhere I want to. Then I got myself a bus, one of those land cruisers, an air-conditioned, carpeted affair costing about $18,000. I've got some motorbikes strapped on it and I have a target thrower on top of that with some shotguns. I like fishin', but I like huntin' better. Bird shooting. Any game bird mostly, quail, pheasant and doves. I got myself a big old crow the other day. I was so proud of it. I really was, because there was no reason for me to have gotten it. Where were you? Up in the mountains in California. We were riding our motorbikes and the other guys were off trying to get up this hill. And never did get up it. And I just saw a bunch of them workin', and I slipped over and got me one. Fortunately there's no limit on a crow and he's in season all the time. I asked him if he'd ever eaten crow. I suppose you could, he's not very good. A good hunter won't really shoot anything outside of crow that he wouldn't cat. But I can't cook. My wife's a fine cook. She'd fix the game. She fixes dove better than anybody I've seen in my whole life, really grand. She fixes chucker good, too. She fixes all of 'em good and a good goose. I don't know how she does all these things, but she'll be glad to talk with ya. You always liked Southern cooking best? I always have. Like what, black-eyed peas? How do you like them, for instance? The only way to fix them, cook them all day with meat and water. And that's all there is to it, the non-cook said. I asked about his place in North Carolina, a 53-acre retreat on Roanoke Island, and the possibility of a garden. No, it's all sand down there. It's hard to grow anything. Aren't there many one-man farm operations down there, Andy? Yes, a lot of that down south. Yeah. And up in the mountains of North Carolina, they have a lot of furniture manufacturers. That's where I come from. Andy's dad was in the furniture making business. How often do you get down there? Anyway? Oh, I go every year. Sometimes, I spend 3 months, sometimes 3 weeks. We got into one of my favorite subjects, privacy. There are times when you want to be left alone. I don't care who you are. And they give me my privacy down there. There's no intrusion in California either. There are too many actors for anyone to think about. And if the folks here you know this is really kind of a country town, Manhattan, they'll find ya. But down there, unless I call up someone, they don't come up. Do you like moonshine, Andy? Sure I do, not moonshine, but whiskey. Did Bud tell you that he was huntin' where I had my whiskey hid? Andy was fast shifting into a deeper southern dialect. Well, he was, and I wouldn't tell him, the actor said triumphantly. We talked about brands of humor and the nostalgia attached to looking back and preserving a certain brand of humor found in the great Midwestern radio couple known as Vic and Sod, mayor of the town, starring Lionel Barrymore and the advice-giving critiques of the late Will Rogers. Never scared by poverty, Andy's always been inventive and independent when under the gun. Andy Griffith in person is the Andy Griffith on the tube. Later we contacted Barbara, Andy's attractive wife. Andy always snags the game birds, and Barbara cooks, to please, the Griffiths doves in white wine 4 doves, or squabs, 4 tbsps. Butter, or vegetable oil, 1 teaspoon, salt yx teaspoon pepper 2 cup chicken, or beef, broth 1 cup Moselle or Rhine wine, or half white vinegar, half water, cup finely chopped onion, I cup finely chopped celery, I cup finely chopped parsley 1. Singed doves, or squabs, with flaming torch or over gas flame. Wash thoroughly inside and out. Pat dry with towel. Heat butter, or vegetable oil, in large skillet. Brown doves, or squabs, on all sides. 2. Sprinkle with salt and pepper. Combine broth, wine, or vinegar water mixture, onion and celery with remaining butter, or vegetable oil, in skillet. Pour over doves, or squabs. Bake in preheated 31.0 F oven, basting occasionally, or until meat falls from the bones. Sprinkle with parsley. Serves 4. Afterthoughts. Doves must be bagged in season by the hunter, legally. They cannot be sold in any market unless they have passed U.S. government inspection. Squabs, available fresh or frozen in specialty food shops or poultry stores, make an excellent substitute. To singe the birds, hold one at a time at the end of a long fork, from the barbecue pit supply. Light a torch of brown paper bagging that is tightly rolled. Hold bird over flame, turn as the flames sear and singe off the fine feathers. The birds, dove or squab, each weigh about to 1 pound. The meat is all dark and deliciously so. Ever Barbara's cook all day black-eyed peas 1 qt black-eyed peas about 3 quarts water 1 large onion 2 ham hocks, or vz pound salt pork, scored, left attached to the rind, 1 dry red hot pepper pod, or crushed red pepper to taste, salt to taste pepper to taste 1. Soak peas overnight. Drain, pick over peas carefully. Put peas,